Fairy tales are the purest and simplest expression of unconscious processes. They are, as it were, the basic patterns of the psyche itself. For Jungian analyst Marie-Louise von Franz, these stories are compensatory. They emphasize what the ego is lacking. For example, in The Frog Prince, a young princess is expected to perform increasingly intrusive demands for an ugly frog. But when he enters her bedchamber and tries to kiss her, she finally refuses. At that moment, the frog turns into a handsome prince. The lesson of this story is the importance of assertiveness and having boundaries. In a male-dominated society, these are particularly important qualities for young girls to develop. So why are all the male stories about heroic, conquering knights or warriors slaying dragons? These tales belong to an oral tradition that dates back to a time when the most important thing to be taught to young men was how to provide, protect, and defend. This so that the tribe, and the species as a whole, could continue to flourish. But this is no longer the case. In the world we live in today, physical assertion through conflict is counterproductive. The problem is not the stories themselves, which are symbolic. Rather, it is the way they are read by a culture that puts the material before the spiritual, the literal before the poetic. A story about a brave knight going off to slay a fearsome dragon is actually a call to sit quietly and work on integrating the dragons within. This process mitigates the tendency to project those same dragons outward, onto people or whole societies. So perhaps what our culture needs is less stories about action and more about inaction. Yet we have few myths to fall back on that encourage our leaders to take this more emotionally intuitive, feminine approach. In Jungian psychology, the terms masculine and feminine have little to do with biology. They represent two aspects of the psyche that must be brought into balance. The masculine is the seat of logic, decisiveness, and outward striving. Perhaps the most important quality of the feminine, meanwhile, is the ability to stand ambiguity, to view the world not as divided into good and bad, instead to see how each plays an indispensable part in the whole. In our global civilization, maybe what is most important are these qualities of tolerance and understanding. Yet even the Christian mythos is based on heroic sacrifice, of taking the sins of the world onto oneself and defying Satan himself. But what about weakness and failure, of that being okay, an inevitable consequence of being alive? Because it's only when the ego has met failure, when it has been relegated to the periphery, that it sees that it is not the center of the universe. The masculine has always resisted this. Those whose physical and social dominance, perpetuated by heroic hero myths, enabled the misconception that they are bigger than the world they inhabit. But for biological and later societal reasons, the feminine has never been able to delude itself that it is anything other than a small part of something larger. It is fluid and adaptive. Rather than the attempted imposition of subjective will, it's about sensitivity to what is. Love, compassion, simple kindness, what the world needs now more than ever.